I kind of love the idea of what Marvel and DC are really trying to do when it comes to the Ultimate Marvel universe and the Absolute universe. And I know there are a few folks out there who don't really like the idea of these alternate realities being given a chance to grow without any kind of restraints. They kind of want to see the same thing for the main DC and the main Marvel universe. And the thing is, we might get those chances down the road. But getting back to my main point I want to make right now, for the Ultimate Marvel universe, I kind of love the idea we have all these different books. We got Spider-Man, Wolverine, the X-Men, the Ultimates, and now we have Ultimate Spider-Man Incursion, a quick little mini-series for Miles Morales to visit this brand new Ultimate Marvel universe that technically he was invited to come, but he said, nah, I'm gonna stay in the main Marvel universe. And really, when it comes to the opening pages of this storyline, it does a great job to remind us, like, yeah, when it came to the Maker, when he left the main Marvel universe, we already knew Homeboy had a goal in mind to bring back the Ultimate Marvel universe in some type of way. But before he had left, he had invited Miles Morales because Miles came from the original Ultimate Marvel universe. But like I said though, Miles said no. But when it came to the Maker, he left a card behind and said, when you are ready, hey, just come with me and everything. Now, for Miles, he threw that card in the trash can. Now, by this point in Marvel Comics, when it comes to Miles, he now has a little sister who was able to get out of her crib in the opening pages of the storyline. And so she finds the card that the Maker left behind for Miles. And when she does pick up that card, it does open up a portal, allowing her to go into the brand new Ultimate Marvel universe. And it's not just Billy going into the Ultimate Marvel universe, it's also Miles as well. But here's the thing, because in the Ultimate Marvel universe, we pick up with Peter Parker and Richard Parker. Now, by this point in the Ultimate Marvel timeline, these two characters are both Spider-Men. Peter Parker, of course, bit by a spider, and when it comes to Richard, he's using the AI suit right now to allow him to become Spider-Man alongside his father. Now, with that being said, this book is also giving us our first look at Ultimate Spot. Now, here's the thing, because I was kind of surprised by this when it came to them giving us Ultimate Spot, because for me personally, if you're going to bring in a new villain into the Ultimate Marvel universe for Peter to fight against, I was thinking of like somebody completely different rather than Spot. But then I had to realize Spot became more popular thanks to the different types of media out there that he has appeared in, especially because of Spider-Verse. But either way, for Richard and Peter, they're really struggling when it comes to fighting against Ultimate Spot. But luckily for our heroes, you do have Miles appear. Now, when Miles does appear, for me, this is great because for Miles, he's been Spider-Man for a long time, so he knows how to handle the different types of villains, especially when it comes to Spot. Now, here's the thing. It's not me saying like Ultimate Peter Parker is not a veteran, but at the same time, he's technically not. Like, yes, for Ultimate Peter, he has gone through a lot of different things, but at the same time, he is still learning how to be that hero. For Miles, it's a whole entire different case. This man has gone through way more than Ultimate Peter has. And so for Miles, he knows how to handle a villain like Spot. And when he does, Richard is truly amazed by Miles. And this kind of leads into a conversation I kind of like when it comes to Miles Morales introducing himself, because for Miles, he has to play it safe. And let me explain. Because for Miles, in his reality, there is a Peter Parker, but in the main Marvel universe, Peter is not married to Mary Jane and they have kids. But in the Ultimate Marvel universe, he does. Peter is married. They got 2 kids. And so for Miles, he can say like, yeah, I do know Peter somewhat well, but he can't say like, oh yeah, I know a lot about Richard Parker. Well, he does not, because in his reality, there is no Richard Parker. I mean, there is, but not the son of Peter Parker, Richard Parker. And so for Miles, he's kind of like, yeah, you're around, I think. I don't know much about you, truthfully, though. Because for Miles, his main goal is to find Billy. Because when they both arrived in this reality, they arrived in different locations. And so for Miles, his goal at first is to go to all these different locations that he believes that Billy could possibly be at. But these different locations are places that he knows of from his reality. But that right there is very important, because for this reality, yes, it does seem very similar to his, but at the same time, it's not. This is the maker's reality. He came here, used time travel to make this reality in his own image. And so for Miles, going to all of these different locations, he's not really able to find his missing sister. But on top of that, for Miles, he's kind of wondering, is there an Ultimate Marvel Universe version of me? But while you have Miles trying his best to find his missing sister, you also have Richard Parker truly express that he's beginning to idolize Miles Morales. And here's the thing, because you have Peter getting jealous, but at the same time, Peter has to understand that for Richard Parker, he is meeting someone else from, 1, a different reality, 2, someone his own age, but 3, somebody who's acting more like a veteran than his own father is. And so yes, for Peter, he is a tad bit jealous that for his son Richard, he's now looking at someone else as his idol, but at the same time, he has to understand that Richard is just a teenager, just like Miles. Now, with all that being said, you do have Spot appear, but you do have Miles being able to easily take down Spot all over again. Now, with Miles and Billy both being here, you also have the different members of the Makers Council beginning to kind of realize there was some kind of incursion. They're all realizing that Miles is here in their reality. Now, for some of them, they're kind of wondering like, okay, is this the Maker making his return? Because even though you had the Maker make this reality, the Maker got locked away. He's gone for a few more months. And so his council is right now in charge of the entire world. And they're all kind of wondering, who is this person who just arrived in their reality? But for each member of the council, they all say the same thing. They want Miles here. But the Makers Council is not the only group right now who realize that, hey, we have some kind of incursion happen on Earth. It's also the Ultimates finding out as well. And for the Ultimates, they want Miles on their side. And so for Steve Rogers, he said, you know what? Let's send these 2 people to go get him, to bring him over to our side. And we find out at the very end who are those 2 people. But as we get back over to the Spider-Men, you have Miles just snap at Peter and Richard. Now, technically for Peter, he was not in the wrong here. He's kind of like, hey, listen, you know what? We got to take a break. We've been at this for like hours on hours. How about this? We all go to my apartment, get some rest, and then early in the morning, we come back out here and continue our search for your sister. But for Miles, he's kind of like, no. I cannot just leave my sister out there because she's only 11 months old. That would be wild to leave her out there. And so this is where you have Richard Parker and Peter Parker exit the book. And so you didn't have the book really end on the note where you have Miles be confronted by the 2 Ultimates that you had Steve Rogers sent. And that'll be Ant-Man and the Wasp. Now, with this ending right here, we are technically told that issue number 2 will be Miles Morales getting the chance to hang out with Wasp and Ant-Man, but also apparently going over to Wakanda to meet the ultimate version of the Black Panther. But this is where we're going to end today's comic book video. So please leave me a like down below and subscribe. But guys, see y'all next time. Later.